To leverage debt or not to leverage debt? That is one of the huge questions not only going through my head right now, but also going through the heads of many real estate investors and even just home buyers right now with high interest rates and high prices. The question is, should you take out a mortgage or should you pay cash? Hi everybody, my name is Colin Boyer. I'm a realtor and team lead running a team of phenomenal agents here in the South Central Pennsylvania and Northern Maryland area. And I am also an investor and on the hunt for my next investment property. But I've been thinking recently about leveraging debt and wanted to give a little bit of my thoughts to maybe just kind of get some more opinions out there and see if anybody's thinking the same way as me. So I originally got into real estate by looking into BiggerPockets. They are a huge real estate investing media company who does podcasts. They have their own website. They throw events. And the big thing in BiggerPockets is leverage debt. Leverage as much money as possible as you can to be able to go out and buy a bunch of investment properties and cash flow a few $100s on each property so you can get passive income, you can travel, you can do whatever you want. But with higher interest rates and things becoming more and more unaffordable, there's been a lot of people who aren't really going down that route. So you've got on one side, to one extreme, leverage as much debt as possible, doing the Burr method, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, basically just put all the money into it, then refinance 80% out, take that and go buy another deal where you have that monthly, every single month. It's coming. You've got a mortgage payment. Did they pay their rent? Okay, good. Now I can pay my mortgage payment. Did they not? Okay, now I've got to tap into my reserves. And then on the other end, you've got Dave Ramsey, for example, somebody who is do not buy real estate with a mortgage, pay off your debt as soon as possible, don't leverage any debt because you are responsible for it in the event that your tenant doesn't pay or you lose your job or we have a pandemic again. So that is something that has been sitting with me as I'm looking to purchase my next investment property and talking with a lot of clients who are looking at their next investment property. So whenever I first got into real estate, I was huge, very, very huge into, okay, let me just put 20% down or buy something cash and then pull all of the money out and just keep going to buy other deals. But as I started to accumulate properties and investment properties and rentals, I started to panic a little bit because I've got mortgages on these homes. And my thoughts went to, oh my gosh, if these tenants do not pay, I am on the hook. My credit's on the hook. My reserve money is on the hook that I put aside every single month whenever I get my rent checks, that I just put it into the bank account and have it ready so it can pay the mortgage payment and sit in reserves if something goes wrong. So I've kind of gotten to like an existential crisis almost of where I've become obsessed with I need to buy my next home cash and not refinance it because then I have that coming in monthly. But then I also think back to whenever I first got into real estate, should I just leverage that and buy as many rentals as possible? So I've really been digging into it and I'm listening to both sides, the leverage side and the pay cash side and never have a mortgage and don't dealing with the bank. And obviously not everybody can do that, but I wanted to kind of talk about both sides to see which one maybe makes sense for you, or maybe even just have a conversation with the camera for a while to see if I can convince myself to go either way. So I've been seeing a lot of people lately get into investing into real estate, and a lot of people who maybe don't quite have a ton of reserves or a big nest egg to be able to put into it, and they're kind of strapping themselves for cash whenever they are buying these investment properties or maybe even their personal residence. And maybe if they just save for a little bit longer, they could be in a much better position to go buy something. Let's maybe just actually keep this to rental properties, because different scenarios, some people just don't have the option. They have to go buy a house to live in rather than maybe renting or something along those lines. But I see a lot of people online, on social media, but also a lot of my clients who are kind of strapping themselves and making it a tight situation by them trying to purchase something with 20% down and they're getting rid of all of their reserves, and it's making it tough. So let's say down the road they keep doing that, and maybe they keep buying 20% down, keep buying 20% down, keep buying 20% down, and then they have a situation where maybe a couple tenants can't pay their rent at one time, or you have an HVAC unit break on one and then you have a roof break on the other, or not break but start leaking and come to the time that it's needing replacement. And you end up being in a very tight situation if you don't have reserves. And noticing it personally, where I've never had any issues with my tenant not paying rent or any issues coming up, but I know it's inevitable with owning real estate. Things go wrong. It's a house. It's an asset. You've got to have money to be able to fix it. I did run into it a little bit on my Columbus, Ohio property that I purchased, one of my out-of-state rentals, where the HVAC broke before I even got to move a tenant in. So that was another $9,500 that I had to shell out on top of what I put into the property to purchase it, where I was like, holy crap, if this was maybe one of my clients or myself, if I didn't have big reserves to be able to put towards the property, then this could have been a very scary situation. Maybe I would have had to sell before I could even get somebody in there if I couldn't cover the mortgage payment. And it got to the point where even when things weren't going wrong, and even knowing I have not touched any rent from that, I get it, pay my mortgage, keep the cash flow in an account and do not touch it. I don't need it. It's sitting there to be able to just build up a bigger and bigger nest egg to eventually one day be able to put it into another property. Where I have these times where I'm laying in bed at night and it's like, oh my gosh, if my tenant leaves or they stop paying, which I don't foresee that happening because it's a wonderful tenant with a wonderful job, but you have to think on any property where what if that happens? And it just has kind of been sitting with me for a super long time where it's like, oh my gosh, do I really want to keep pulling out debt and leveraging and be millions and millions and millions of dollars in debt, even having cash flowing assets, whereas I could just pay cash and have all of that come up front. So I know what some of the judgments are going to be, especially from the very high leverage people and the big debt people, where it's going to be, you can scale much faster. You, instead of maybe buying one property in cash, you can take that and split it up into 4 or 5 different assets, or take what you could have paid cash and put it into a huge apartment building or something like that as a down payment. But I think it truly comes down to now what makes you comfortable, rather than either side being right or wrong. I've kind of come to the conclusion that what makes you able to sleep at night, what makes you comfortable for taking care of your family, what makes you comfortable putting your name on the line. Is it having 10 properties that you owe 80% of the mortgage on? Maybe it's $1 million. Maybe you got a crazy good deal or something like that, and it was something that it was $100,000 a door, and now you owe $800,000. Your name's on the line. If those tenants stop paying, you've got to tap into your reserve. Or is it, instead of 10 units, you own $250,000 or $300,000 in real estate, and it's 2 or 3 units that you're positively cash flowing each month, and you grow it slower and you are just buying it as the cash flow comes in. You're not touching it, or maybe you are and just living off that and investing your active income from your job or your business, and you just slowly grow it. You just do not have the stress of, hey, I've got to make this mortgage payment every month. You've just got to pay your taxes, insurance, and any repairs, and you're pretty much good to go. So I wanted to make this video and also get thoughts from other people who are doing the same thing. Maybe you are in my position right now, or you dealt with my position where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to take on more debt because I'm nervous because I've got to make that payment every single month. I wanted to get some thoughts from everybody and just kind of see what you're thinking, and just kind of see if you can share any advice with anybody in this situation. So I do truly see both sides. I think both have huge benefits. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I am sure in the rest of my lifetime, however long that is that I'll end up doing probably both sides, where I'll probably buy something and have it leveraged pretty high. I don't know what that scenario might look like, but it may happen if it's a phenomenal deal and I just don't have the liquid funds because maybe I bought something else and it's just too good of a deal to pass up, and I take that on. And I'm sure I'll also pay for something in cash if it's a cheaper home, or I just continuously throw reserves at different properties and purchase some cash so I don't have the headache or that in the back of my head, hey, you've got a mortgage, now you're adding more, now you've got 10, 20, 30 mortgages. So I wanted to see if I could help in any way and just kind of show both sides of that and get an idea what you guys think as viewers and clients and customers and future investors or home buyers. And speaking on that, if we can help you guys buy or sell or invest anywhere in the country, we service South Central PA and Northern Maryland, but we have phenomenal agents all over the country. If we can help you guys out, go to collinboyer.net, not .com, collinboyer.net, and schedule a call with me, learn a little bit more about me, and we can introduce you to somebody that we greatly trust in your area. And if you're an agent or somebody looking to get into the industry, or maybe you just want to join our team or work with us, go to collinboyer.net, go to the agents tab, and schedule a call with me. If there's anything we can help with, we're happy to have a conversation, even if our team or brokerage does not make sense for you. We have clients that reach out to us from videos that we love to be able to refer, so definitely reach out to me. If this video helped you at all, do not forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.